What if I told you with just a few simple ingredients and zero oven time, you can recreate that kind of raspberry zing, coconut infused snack cake that you used to love as a child? I have incorporated all the flavors into these raspberry bliss balls is what I call them. I think they're so delicious, and to be honest, I used to really love that those raspberry zingers when I was a kid. So I thought, why can't I just recreate those flavors and make them into a guilt-free vegan treat that I can have whenever I want? And I think you should hang around because I think this might become your new favorite treat. It's made with just a few ingredients, and I think we're just gonna just get started on the recipe. I'm going to show you how to make them. But first of all, I would love you to leave a comment. What was your favorite snack as a kid? Store bought, whatever. If you liked raspberry zingers like me, I'd love to hear from you. But make sure I'm not the only one. So we'll start with a cup of oats. These are just regular oats. I think they give you the best texture. If you're using instant oats, you might want to increase it to, this is 1 cup of regular oats, but if you're using instant, maybe make it a cup and a quarter. And here I have 3/4 cup of coconut flakes. I got a tablespoon of ground flax. And this is a 1/2 cup of almond flour, almond meal, whatever you call it. I'm just going to put this lid on here. Once again, I have put my I have put it on backwards. Here we go. And it's not plugged in. There we go. The goal here is just to get a nice uniform texture. It doesn't need to be ground down to a flour or anything, but just a little bit. To this, I'm going to add, I have a couple of tablespoons here of maple syrup. And my recipe actually calls for 3. I'm just going to see what happens when I use 2. So we may have to bump that up a little bit. We'll see. But I think it's plenty sweet. So I think 2 tablespoons should be enough. I'm going to run that just a couple of times. And then now I have 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. You can see I've run it in the microwave for a few seconds to soften it up. You can see from a texture point of view, these are this is still kind of, I can press this together and it's just not going to hold very well, but now we're going to add the secret ingredient, which is, this is around 3/4 cup of fresh raspberry. You can use frozen as well. It works, but if you're going to use frozen, just go ahead and let them set out for a couple of minutes. We're just going to put that right in here, and here we go. The moisture from the raspberries really interacts with this well, and it creates a nice moist texture that makes these come together and hold very nicely. That took that crumbly texture we had before and transforms it. Now, here's what I always recommend when you're making something like an energy bite. Take a small bite and take a test. As I mentioned to you, I reduced the sweetness by 1 tablespoon, and I think this is just fine. However, if you like things a little bit sweeter, that's okay. It's all right. You can add up to 3 tablespoons, and this is going to be nice and sweet and delicious. Another thing I think I'd highly recommend is this recipe has around 2 grams of protein per serving. So another great way to add some sweetness would be to use plant-based protein powder, like vanilla flavored. Add about a tablespoon, I think, of that. And a lot of those have some kind of sweet flavor to them. And then you can mix that in, and that's going to give you a nice texture, a little bit of a protein boost, and boost up that sweetness as well. The other thing you want to think about is whether this is the right color for you. If you'd like it to be a little bit brighter in color, an option would be, I love this hibiscus powder. It's got a nice pink color to it here. I'll just do that. We'll just add around a teaspoon or so of that. And I'm going to run that through just a couple of mixes. And you can see how much that increases the color. Just a little bit of this stuff is really very powerful. Another option I think would work really well is freeze-dried strawberry powder would be another really great option. It's got bright color. It's got a similar tangy flavor as raspberries, so it works very well. So yeah, that's that. This is basically it. Now you also could add some things like chocolate chips. I kind of like having a treat around the house that doesn't have to, we don't have to have chocolate chips in everything. Sean's in protest right there. He just said, I think we do. If you were going to add chocolate chips to this, I think I would do white chocolate chips. It would be very delicious. We have the Enjoy Life has those delicious dairy-free white chocolate chips, so those are really good. So anyway, the next step, we're basically done with this recipe. The next step is just to roll it out. And what I do is I use this cookie scoop. I kind of get a generous portion on there. Now, when the first time you roll them out, I'm not saying you have to roll them twice, but I just roll them between my hands, and then I put them on a platter, and this goes in the fridge. It needs to sit in the fridge for at least 5 to 10 minutes because what's going to happen is just a few minutes in the fridge is going to help that coconut oil firm up, and as a result, these will turn nice and firm like these are. These are nice and firm. So sometimes what I'll do is after they're refrigerated, I'll roll them one more time just so that they have a nice, beautiful, because when they're wet like this, it's kind of hard to get the shape exactly the way you want them to look. But this is me being a weirdo. I mean, you don't have to do it that long. I mean, you don't have to double roll them. I just like them to look really pretty. So anyway, that's what you'll do. You'll just roll these between your hands like this, and then put them on a tray, and then that tray goes in the fridge, and you now have a bunch of different Raspberry Bliss Balls that you can choose from. It's so amazing, so delicious. These are tasty just the way they are. They're just a little bit on the soft side. That's all I say. A few minutes on in the fridge, and that's going to get that nice firm texture. So I think now is a good time for a taste test. So I'm just going to take a little bite out of this. That is so good. Like I say, I used to love raspberry zingers as a child, so you can just use that to determine whether you want to trust me ever again now when it comes to recipes. But I did love raspberry zingers. There's something about that flavor of the raspberry and the coconut that combines together that just hits all my favorite spots. But yes, these to me have the same flavor note. Now it's it's been a long time since I've had a raspberry zinger. I don't think they're actually even vegetarian. So I think the last time I looked, I think they have beef tallow in them or something. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not going to probably go out and buy raspberry zingers, but I would have these because they're made with healthy plant-based ingredients. They're so easy to make. I mean, who doesn't want a snack in 15 minutes or less? That's what I think I love about this recipe. It comes together so fast, and you're just going to enjoy nice, delicious Raspberry Bliss Balls for days to come. So that's what I love about it. I hope you like it too. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed this recipe, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week.